Welcome back to the Elise Surkov podcast. Today, I am going to be talking about how to be uncomfortable. And if you're sitting in a very comfortable chair right now, or you're driving and you got your seat warmer on, or wherever you're listening to this podcast right now, and you are just feeling super comfortable, I'm going to burst your bubble and make you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit tight, hang on, and let's get going. All right. This is a topic that comes up a lot. I have done a community call on this very topic a few times. I tend to ruffle feathers, but I get a lot of messages from clients that say that it just makes sense to them. And so here's the thing. If you're in perimenopause or menopause, then you already know that shit is getting real. Your life has changed. Your identity is changing. Your kids are getting older. Your body's changing. Your hormones are changing. Your sexuality is changing, right? It's like all of a sudden your libido is shot. Your partner still wants sex. And you're like, I hate the way I look and feel. Shit just feels different right now. Okay. So, like, when I say get uncomfortable, you're probably thinking, Elise, I am so fucking uncomfortable in my body right now. And I get it. That's why you're here. However, I want to really stress the fact that it is human nature, no matter what, to be comfortable. So, if you're having a hot flash, then you're going to take off your sweater and sit in your tank top and you're going to be comfortable. If you're hungry, you're probably going to want to eat something so that you're going to feel comfortable. If you're cold, then you're going to want to put on a sweatshirt so that you feel comfortable. We are designed to make ourselves comfortable. It's human nature. So to put ourselves in an uncomfortable position is really hard. And I want to validate that. I get it. It's really, really hard. However, anytime that you make a change in your life, it's going to be uncomfortable because it's going to be hard because you haven't done it before. Okay, let's pause. Anytime you learn a new skill, it's hard. Um, anytime I've ever started something new, I've always hated it because it was so new and it was so uncomfortable. I remember the very first time I started teaching at the college, I hated it. I hated it. I wanted to quit. And Albert was like, let's just give it a little bit more time because I know you and you always say this when you start something new. And I was really angry because I was like, no, you don't understand. I really hated it. It really sucks. And it didn't. It was just that it was something that I hadn't done before. It was really uncomfortable. It was different hours. It was having to be up in front of a room full of students and mentoring and teaching and exam taking and marking and all things that I really hadn't done before. I had to relearn a lot of things that I already learned, like physiology, kinesiology, all the things that I was teaching that I was like, oh God, I have to like remember how to be a student again so I can remember how to teach it and break it down. I remember going over the Krebs cycle and being like, fuck, I thought I never had to do this again, but here I am mastering it so I can teach it. And it was so uncomfortable for me. But then guess what? I started to get better at it and it wasn't uncomfortable anymore. And so I share this with you because the same thing is true when we are in perimenopause or menopause and we are starting to learn the skill of weight loss. And the problem is that so many of us have years and years of diet culture built in where we figured out a hack or a way to make ourselves comfortable. And I'm going to use this example as Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers notorious for making you feel comfortable. Hey, guess what? We have a point system. And so you can eat whatever you want as long as you stick to your points. But don't worry. Here's a list of all the foods that are 0 points so you can stay comfortable while you lose weight. And you're like, yes. Or you do another quick fix, or you do, Uptavia. And it's like, hey, we're going to slash your calories, but don't worry, we're going to give you all your food so that you're never going to be uncomfortable and have to worry about what you're going to make for dinner. Or, here is keto and it's going to be great and you're going to lose weight, but you're just never going to eat carbs again. Or intermittent fasting, we're just going to skip breakfast. So we're going to make it super easy for you. We're going to keep you nice and comfortable. All you have to do is just skip breakfast. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. And you're good to go. So we are just always notorious for making ourselves comfortable and hacking our way out of doing the hard work. So what we practice in our community at FFWE is being fucking uncomfortable. It's one of the questions we ask our clients every single week when we check in with them. Hey, girl, tell me, were you uncomfortable? When I have a client come to me and she's like, and we have, let me just stop. I'm so excited when I talk about our community and our program, but we have our 90-day 4-function hormonal renewal, and it is the best fucking program out there, if I do say so myself. If you're a client listening to this or a former client, you would agree. We put our heart and souls into our clients. We have guaranteed results. That's how much we stand by our program. So every single week when we check in with our clients, we ask them, hey, were you uncomfortable this week? And many times I have clients reach out to me and they're like, I'm frustrated as fuck because this isn't working. And I'm like, yeah, all right, let's get into it. Tell me what's going on, Stacey. Why do you feel that this isn't working? And it's like, I haven't lost any weight. And I'll be like, okay, cool. So show me your macros. Oh, I haven't been tracking. Okay, so I have no idea what you're eating. That's cool. You don't have to count in order to lose weight. I mean, it does help and it makes it speed up and go faster. But let me ask you this magic question. Are you hungry? Stacey's like, no. Okay, cool. Are you uncomfortable? Have you done something every single day that was uncomfortable? Did you say no to the glass of wine that you typically have at night? Well, no, I had a really hard day. You don't understand. I just really needed it. My husband and I were sitting. Okay, cool. Um, did you pass the candy bowl at work? Or did you have it? No, I had the candy, but I didn't have a lot of candy. I had less than I normally have, but I still had it. Oh, okay. So you just you hacked it. You made yourself comfortable. And so you're not getting results because you're not doing the work. You're making your shit too comfortable. And here's the real is that this shit is hard. And hands up if you thought it was going to be easy. When I asked this question on our community calls, no one puts up their hand. Nobody thinks that weight loss is going to be easy. So we all agree it's going to be hard. We just don't all agree that it was going to be this hard. We're redefining what hard is. And we are realizing that, oh, this is what uncomfortable means. I use this as an example a lot. It took me 4 fucking years to stop eating like an asshole on the weekend. Why? Because I truly believe that the weekend was my reward for a solid week of nutrition. So when I was shifting my habits and my behaviors, I started thinking, oh my God, I'm sabotaging myself every fucking weekend. Why am I doing this? I'm making myself too comfortable because not having what I wanted when I wanted on the weekend felt uncomfortable. It felt, ooh, the R word, restrictive. Okay. Now, is that restrictive or is it responsible? And I'll talk about that on another episode because we get into that a lot in our community as well. But the whole idea is that it was really uncomfortable for me to go out for dinner and then go out for lunch and then not eat like an asshole for the rest of the day like I normally would. It was uncomfortable. But guess what? When I started practicing being uncomfortable and I flipped my script and said, every single day I need to be a little bit uncomfortable, the whole world changed for me. And this is true with any new skill that you're learning, is that at some point every day you've got to practice it, right? You can't just expect to be really good at something if you do it once in a while. So every single day you're going to need to be uncomfortable. That's going to be really hard for you to hear if you're someone who likes to hack your comfort and say, no, you don't understand. I keep a personal fan with me in case I get hot. I just fan myself. Or you can just sit in your sweat and be uncomfortable, right? Or you can say no to the candy, no to the glass of wine. You can not sit and eat that extra bowl of popcorn. You can not figure out a way to have quote unquote free foods and realize that everything does count. You can be real with yourself and be uncomfortable. And it's only then that you're going to start seeing real life changes. Okay. I say this a lot, but maintenance is hard as fuck. Losing weight, it is easy. We're all really good at being told what to do, sticking to it, and then knowing there's an end date to it. But when we hit maintenance and it's a forever thing, most, if not all of us, fuck it up the very first time we do it. Why? Because we think it's a free for all. We don't realize that maintenance is really hard because you've got to practice this shit every single day. You still have to practice being uncomfortable when you're in maintenance, my girl. Absolutely, you do. It is not a free for all. And that might seem restrictive, but I'm going to throw the same analogy I always throw at you, which is what about if you had a budget and you were like, I only spend X amount of money every single day. And when I spend that money, I'm done. So if you're like, hey, I spend $20 a day and that's it, and you've spent your $20 and your friends want to go out for dinner, guess what, honey? You're staying home because you've already spent your budget. That's just your life. And if you don't do that and you go out with your friends, you're going to go into debt. And at the end of the month, when you have no money saved and you're in debt again, who's responsible? Who's responsible? Is it your job? Do you need to make more money, or do you need to be more responsible with how you spend it? Well, it's the same thing with your nutrition. At the end of the day, you can be upset with your coach, you can be upset with your program, or you can look in the mirror and say, I went over my allotment, my budget. I was just too comfortable. I use this example a lot as well. Another rule we have is like, don't skip a workout 2 days in a row. Like, skip one, but not twice. So for me, I go out for dinner, and like once a week, I kind of go off track a little bit. I'm like, I'm just going to, don't eat like an asshole anymore, but it's like, I'm just going to go enjoy the food. But there was an instance recently where we went out with Albert's family, right? The night after Albert and I went out with some friends, and it was like I mean, I love it. I love Mexican. It was tacos, it was tequila, it was the guac, it was the nacho, it was everything. And then the next day we went out for dinner. And so I had the fish. I do tend to really enjoy fish, mostly because I don't love making fish other than salmon at home. And I had a side potato and veg, and everyone else was having French fries, and they were having chips and all the goods, and I wasn't. And it did fucking suck. I'm not gonna lie. I had to sit there like a child, having a temper tantrum to myself, saying I want to have all of these things, but I had it last night. I'm out of my budget right now, and if I did that and it Tetrised my comfort level, then I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have the physique that I want to have. I wouldn't feel the way I enjoy feeling, and that's important to me. So you have to make sure that no matter what you're doing, you're looking in the mirror and you are, I guess, redefining comfort and allowing yourself to be uncomfortable. Now, again, like I started at this episode, it's going to go against human nature. So it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's not going to be something, but guess what? Just like everything else, the more you practice, the better you're going to get at this. So I leave this with you today. Go and practice being uncomfortable. What's one thing you can do today? Implement this now that's uncomfortable. Maybe, you always end up eating something after dinner. Try to, shut the pantry, close the kitchen, and don't eat anything. And you're going to want to. Okay, I feel you. I hear you. Hear my voice in your head when you do that and say, you're going to be okay. No one ever died because they didn't eat all the food after dinner. Okay, you're going to make it through the night. You're going to wake up, and guess what? You're going to feel fucking proud of yourself because you did something that was super uncomfortable. And that, my girl, is how we grow. So let me know how you do. Tell me what's one thing that you did uncomfortable. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, Functionally Fit with Elise. You can find me on Facebook too. We have a free group. I'd love to invite you in, and you can share it with me there too. Or, find me on my website, functionallyfitwithelise.com. Either way, find me. Let me know how this lands. Or better yet, leave me a review on this episode, or share it and share it with your bestie and say, let's get uncomfortable together. Just let me know how you do. As a reminder, the information provided on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.